The Honorable Public Speaking Lecturer Mrs. Nurul Afiatena, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Rosita. I'm a student from Latansa Masiro University who feels very honored to be given the opportunity to deliver a speech today titled The Causes of Mental Disorders. Before we start the discussion, let me begin by telling you a story about my neighbor. So, I have a neighbor who suffers from a mental disorder due to a heavy mental burden. Almost every day, she always walks around the village. She even used to take her children with her. If she or the people around her were aware of the causes and symptoms of mental disorders, maybe she would still be healthy today. But because people in my village don't pay much attention to such things, people who experience mental disorders also ignore what they feel. From this story, we can learn that educating ourselves about mental disorders, especially the causes, is important. Therefore, today I want to explain about the causes of mental disorders. I have divided my speech into four parts. These parts consist of genetic and biological, physical environment, psychological, as well as social factors. I obtained these causes from reliable sources in the form of articles and videos, as well as based on my personal experience witnessing people affected by mental disorders. Okay, first I will discuss genetic and biological factors. According to Ayo Sehat Kemkes, these factors include a family history of mental disorders, chemical imbalances in the brain, and neurological changes. Based on research conducted by Trimelia Suprihatiningsi on 64 people who have family members with psychiatric disorders, as much as 70% of the causes are biological, with the majority being due to heredity. In addition to that research, there is also a man in my area who suffer from a mental disorder in the form of excessive fear and shame. Although the specific type of mental disorder he experiences is unknown, his father and relatives suffer from similar conditions. This serves as evidence that genetic and biological factors can play a role in a person's mental disorder. Keeping this point in mind, I will now move on to the second point. The second point focuses on physical environmental factors. The American Psychiatric Association explains that mental health can be influenced by our physical environment, including air quality, noise levels, and access to green open spaces. Research by Christine Engelman and her team has proven this connection. They conducted a study following children from birth until the age of 10. The results show that children living in environments with the lowest amount of green space had a 55% higher risk of developing various mental disorders compared to children living in the greenest environments. Based on this evidence, what we must realize is that physical environment around us also has an impact on our mental health. Let me now turn to the third point. The third point focuses on psychological factors. According to the Sedow Health Center, These factors are primary causes of mental disorders and include negative thought patterns as well as emotional or psychological trauma. A powerful real-world case that proves psychological impact on mental health is a survey conducted by the Aceh Health Office. It revealed that out of the 51.1% of people with psychiatric disorders in Aceh, 80% of those cases were caused by the trauma of armed conflict, specifically from witnessing shootings and killings firsthand. Now let's turn our attention to the last point. The last point will focus on social factors. As cited by the Ministry of Health, social factors encompass family, social interaction, social change, social stratification, and culture. Data from the 2025 Ministry of Health proves that 28% of the 3.4 million teenagers in Indonesia experiencing mental health issues admitted to having symptoms of depression due to social pressure in the digital world. Furthermore, there is the tragic case of a student from Udayana University, Bali, who committed suicide because of bullying. Now, I will review my 4 points. First, I discuss genetic and biological factors. Second, I address physical environmental factors. Third, I cover psychological factors. And fourth, I explore social factors. Mental disorders can be prevented if we pay close attention to these causes. Yet, so many people remain indifferent. In reality, these very causes can be the starting point for someone to develop a mental disorder. Ladies and gentlemen, I fervently hope that the points I have conveyed will be of great value to all of us. Thank you a lot for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.